Whatever the adventure, there's a BMW engineered to take it on. The X3 delivers a striking design with agile performance. The 100% electric i4 packed with pure electric energy. Or the plug-in hybrid X5, an impressive, versatile SUV granting full control on every journey. Choose what powers your next adventure during the BMW Road Home Sales Event. BMW, the ultimate driving machine. Hurry in for exceptional offers through January 2nd. Visit bmwusa.com for details.
Good evening. Welcome to WSBI, your resource for success podcast program, where you get to meet inspiring women-owned businesses from across the country. And now, for your host, Kimberly McLemore.
All right, good evening and welcome to WSBI, your resource for success podcast program, where you get to meet inspiring women-owned businesses from across the country. I am your host, Kimberly McLemore, and welcome to our special edition show. With us, we have Robert Antoinin, founder of Leadership Lessons. Robert is on a worldwide mission to help leaders become better communicators, motivators, and innovators in the workplace. Specifically, Robert shares strategies on how to work with difficult people, improve employee morale, and motivate underperforming employees. For more than 20 years, while working in the retail and service industries, Robert successfully led sales teams to exceed their personal, leading those that don't want to be led, and professional revenue goals. In addition, Robert consistently increased profitability while managing dozens of multi-million-dollar operations. Oftentimes, his knack for exceeding company performance metrics led to multiple awards and promotions throughout his career. Robert's ability to manage deadline-driven environments has uniquely equipped him to understand the challenges that leaders face today. Planning is great, but as a result of Robert's varied experiences, he has learned the art of execution is everything. Turning his workplace horror stories into thought-provoking lessons to instruct and train. As a mentor and volunteer, Robert has worked with nonprofit and faith-based organizations to educate young people and to host several events in the community. And so without further ado, let me introduce to you to my platform, Mr. Robert Antoinin. Hello, Robert. How are you doing this evening?
Hey, Kimberly McLemore. How are you, sister?
I am doing great, and I am so excited about you being on my platform with me tonight.
Well, I am more than excited to be here with you. I'm not sure if your listeners know that we have a small history outside of this particular platform, but before we get started, I just want to let you and the listeners know that I am so uber proud of you because of who you are, the resilience that you've shown, and your ability to lead in the face of adversity and to shine even when people try to put shade on you. So shout out to you, Bob, and all of that good stuff. I'm so proud and so happy to be here with you this evening.
Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate you. Like most people don't know, but we do have a little bit of a history behind this. I mean, we've known each other for a little over a year and probably closer to 2. I'm starting to lose track, but you have been a phenomenal friend and you have always had my back, and I've always absolutely appreciated you more than you will ever know. And, you know, like I said, this show isn't about me tonight. We're going to talk about you because you are probably one of the main people I've known for a while, but don't know really what you do and all the things that you've accomplished. So I'm so excited about you being on my show tonight so that the listeners can learn so much more about what you do with your business and then what has happened with you outside of your business. So why don't you start out by telling my listeners a little bit more about who you are personally and then some of the things that you've been up to lately.
Sure. Well, my name is Robert Antoinin, as you've already said. I am the founder of a small company called Leadership Lessons, where we work with leaders and give them strategies on how to lead people who do not want to be led. And how many of us know that as much as you have the best intention to do the right thing for your people, you try to put them in the right place at the right time, but people are just going to be people. And they're going to fight against you. They're going to resist you. And the average person sometimes wants to, throw their hands up and give somebody a piece of their mind. But depending on where you are in a 9-to-5 workspace, or even if you're an entrepreneur, there is a way to deal with people, right? Even the ones that don't want to follow your leadership. So the cool thing about it is that I work with people in the 9-to-5 space, nonprofit space. I've even been in some faith-based spaces to help leaders to actually deal with people. Because as much as we need people, sometimes they can get on your last nerve. So with that being said, my journey started out probably 3 years ago. I was in a Fortune 500 company. I was well-to-do. I had all the creature comforts. I had the company car. I had the company credit card. I was just awarded like being one of the top managers across the country. I had every creature comfort you could want. I forgot to add, I had the corner office, window with a view. I had it all going on. But then October the 19th happened, and I had a conversation with some regional VPs, some of my favorite people in the company. We sat down at my big wooden mahogany desk, and we started out with a conversation that ended with, we will no longer be in the Robert Antoinin business. And at that point, it was devastating for me because like 2 days prior to that, I had just made the second tuition installment payment for my daughter, who was at Delaware State University at the time. I had just committed to be the host house for Thanksgiving dinner, which was the following month after October. I had followed, promised my son that I would pay for this really expensive camp in December. And there was a lot that was on the line financially that I couldn't afford to be without employment. The backstory to that is, for about a year, I had been praying to God, asking him to put me in a position to speak to people, to teach people, to impact the lives of other leaders, because I felt that I had that gift to be able to teach and to build. And for a year, Kimberly, I didn't hear anything from God. And wouldn't you know it, when the time was right, he moved and he opened the door for me. At the time, he did it in such a way that was dramatic and catastrophic at that particular time, in that particular moment. But in the same time that happened, you know, I came home. I tell people the story that I've got like 3 flights of stairs. When I got to the second flight of stairs, I dropped down on my knees and I started bawling and crying. And they weren't tears of sadness, but they were tears of happiness, because I knew in that moment, that was my God moment to say, my son, I have answered your prayers. Now let me see you do what you told me that you were going to do, because you've been praying for a long time. He opened the door for me. I walked through it. And ever since that day, I've never looked back. And I've been impacting the lives of leaders, working with folks in a 9-to-5 space. Actually, every week, I do a training in the government space. And I work with leaders in one of the largest government organizations. And I talk to them about the different strategies. And I teach them how to be better leaders. And I don't claim to know it all, Kimberly, but I can sure enough tell you I did it wrong enough times to know how to do it right. And being in leadership for so long, I mean, you know, just being in a work environment, there are some lessons that you only want to learn one time. And my dad told me a long time ago, there's 2 ways to gain wisdom. Either by bumping your head up against the wall and making mistakes repeatedly and gaining that experience, or listen to somebody who's already been through where you're trying to go. And that's kind of the position I'm at this stage in my life, where I've got enough years behind me and enough experiences where I can share the lessons for leaders coming along. And this is not only for new leaders, but people who've been in the space for 10, 20, 30 years, senior executives, C-suite leaders. We all need a refresher.
This holiday, BMW has reunited 3 members of the family at the BMW Road Home Sales event. The Agile X3, engineered for any adventure. The plug-in hybrid X5, commanding the streets with unmatched presence. And the all-electric i4, charging into the future with impeccable performance. Hurry in to find what powers your journey at the BMW Road Home Sales event. BMW, the ultimate driving machine.
Visit Valley BMW Center today for attractive lease and finance offers.
The most wonderful time of the year. Although, let's be honest, around the holidays, things really add up. But here's the good news. Only at Verizon, you can get a single line for $50 per month when you switch and bring your phone. So while ice skating for 2 is definitely costing more, here at Verizon, you can save. Gifts for your third cousins? Steep. A single line with Verizon? Not so steep. A real tree? Pricey. A single line with Verizon? Less pricey. Flights to see Mima and Pops? Those are up. A $50 per month single line? That's down. Even a trip to the Atlanta holiday market will cost you more. But with Verizon, you can switch and bring your phone for just $50 per month for a single line on unlimited welcome, with autopay plus taxes and fees. All this to say, during the holiday season, when everything is costing more, you can get more for less right now at a local Verizon store. $15 monthly promo credits applied over 36 months with a new line on unlimited welcome. In times of congestion, unlimited 5G, 4G LTE may be temporarily slower than other traffic. Domestic data roaming at 2G speeds. Additional terms apply.
Of course, or a new perspective on how to deal with the talent pool, particularly in the Washington DMV area where I am. And I've been very, very effective in doing that. So I'm very proud of what I've accomplished in 3 years as an entrepreneur.
Well, you absolutely should be excited and, to hear your story. And unfortunately, there are so many other people who have gone through that same process in life of walking in one day, they had a job, they thought they were on top of the world, and then they're told out of nowhere, you no longer have this job. The difference is for most people, though, is that they don't always get the opportunity to bounce back as well as you have been able to bounce back. Yes. Even though that year was saddened and you didn't know what was going to happen and you were just praying that things would continue to move forward, you were able to take your expertise, your experiences, and turn it into something very valuable that is definitely needed within our working environments. Even though I am an entrepreneur as well, I still work in that 9-to-5 working environment. And I consistently see every day, especially within the government environments, the wrong that we see every day, trying to be those faithful employees that we want to be, and giving them what they deserve to have because we're being paid for that. But unfortunately, sometimes you don't see that balance, right? So I just think, absolutely applaud you for everything that you do. Your story is phenomenal. And I tell you what, I probably would still been in that corner crying for a little bit longer because I'm like, wow, that's a huge responsibility when you're, used to having a paycheck. And that's a big part of what most people who become entrepreneurs don't really understand when they decide to walk away from a job. It's one thing to build faith and have that faith and walk out there, but it's another thing to say, okay, well, how am I going to get this money that I'm used to getting on a regular basis? And you actually had to figure it out whether you wanted to or not.
Yeah. So it's interesting that you bring that up because being an entrepreneur, it is certainly a challenge, or it was a challenge at the beginning because, to your point, being in the 9-to-5 space, there's a lot of comfort there. There's a lot of assuredness on the 1st and the 15th. I'm getting X amount, and I can, ration out whatever needs to happen based on that. You also have the comfort in knowing, as much as I may complain about my health insurance premium being hiked, but I've got health insurance. But if you've ever been put in a place where all that stuff that you used to complain about, you no longer have, now what? But the one thing that I can say for sure is my faith certainly played a large role in what it is that I had to accomplish and to overcome. There were certainly a lot of days where I literally did not know where that next opportunity was going to come. There were a lot of moments when I had self-doubt in the fact that, I didn't have an audience. I didn't have clients. I didn't have anybody who was seeking my service. And with me, you know me, Kimberly, I'm not the most outgoing person in the world, but when I do get comfortable in my element, I'll open up. But in this particular space, being an entrepreneur, being an author, it's a competitive marketplace. Like, you've got thousands of people trying to do the same thing that you're doing, and we're all competing for what seems like the same, 2,000 people, however many people there are to pitch to talk to serve, right? But one thing that I know for sure is that the people that you were called to serve will show up once your product is ready, once you make the decision to be bold enough to show what it is that you have. More importantly, tell your story and be relatable, where somebody can connect to your story and buy into that which it is you have. And that's one of the biggest things as an entrepreneur. A lot of us, we sell things because we think it's cool, right? A lot of that, and what we forget is that clients are like, so what? What makes you unique? And that's why that story is so important. But your story has to be relatable. might be a great story to you, but if it doesn't connect with somebody, you're going to have a hard time, getting your footprint in the marketplace, because there's so many people out there trying to do the exact same thing that you're doing.
Exactly. So, I know that a big part of your inspiration was what you went through, but what else really truly inspired you to step up and say, you know what, I have no choice now. I've got to do this, and I don't want to go back into the same market I was in just to be let down. What else inspired you to do that?
Well, I'm not big into quotes, but there was a book written by a cat by the name of Delatoro McNeil. And he said, so I'm going to mess up the quote, but it was something to the effect of, you better get busy working on your dream, or somebody else will pay you to work on their dream. Mm-hmm. And that is the one motivating factor for me that inspired me to in the midst of my mess, be able to create a message. In the midst of me feeling like a victim, turn that into a victory. And the one thing that I didn't get, Kimberly, is that it was my pain point that helped me to connect, right? Because when you go through some mess and some stuff, you kind of want to keep that inside. We send our representative out into the world when our house is jacked up, when our kids are acting crazy, when we got a mess of stuff going on in our family. But when we go out into the world, we put on a face. And I will say that Delatoro certainly, and him telling his story and him telling me his journey, helped to inspire me. And really, to be honest with you, Kimberly, I'm inspired by anybody who decides to have a can-do attitude, even when the odds are stacked against them, right? I hate that to go on and on and on, but take a young lady like Tiffany Haddish. She came from nothing. She had every reason not to do well, but she decided that this is what I want to do. Somebody will connect to and relate to who I am, this persona that I built. I have no other choice but to be who I am. And the saying that says it takes 7 years to become an overnight success. By the time we found out about her on Girls Trip, she had already been in the industry, trying to fail. She made the decision to do what it is that she had passion to do, in spite of the adversity that I'm sure she faced. Some we know about, and some she probably hadn't told. But in spite of all of that, she told her story. She lived her story, and we know out front and out loud that she sees that girl from around the way, and that's why we love her. So I would encourage anybody, kind of like what you said, and you do as well, Kimberly, being able to tell your story so that you do have that connection point with other people who can say, girl, me too. And you can certainly build your brand and serve more people when you tell your story.
And you're right. And like you said, it's not going to be for everyone, but there's absolutely that one person that will connect. And, you had that opportunity within your story that you connected with hearing, we all know somebody who's been fired. We all have seen people go through that process and never realize it could happen to you, right? And so it's always, how do you handle that? And you handled it well. And, you wouldn't be human if you didn't go through those trials and periods of ups and downs of wondering, am I doing the right thing? And why am I being punished, so to speak? Because we all feel that way when certain things don't go proper in our lives, because when you're smooth sailing, you never think anything's going to go wrong. And that's usually, as they say, when it goes wrong, right? So, yeah, but you're right. It's, once you determine the passion that you have within yourself, it's amazing.
Whatever the adventure, there's a BMW engineered to take it on. The X3 delivers a striking design with agile performance. The 100% electric i4 packed with pure electric energy. Or the plug-in hybrid X5, an impressive, versatile SUV granting full control on every journey. Choose what powers your next adventure during the BMW Road Home Sales Event. BMW, the ultimate driving machine. Hurry in for exceptional offers through January 2nd. Visit bmwusa.com for details.
The most wonderful time of the year. Although, let's be honest, around the holidays, things really add up. But here's the good news. Only at Verizon, you can get a single line for $50 per month when you switch and bring your phone. So, while ice skating for two is definitely costing more, here at Verizon, you can save. Gifts for your third cousins? Steep. A single line with Verizon? Not so steep. A real tree? Pricey. A single line with Verizon? Less pricey. Flights to see Mima and Pops? Those are up. A $50 per month single line? That's down. Even a trip to the Atlanta holiday market will cost you more. But with Verizon, you can switch and bring your phone for just $50 per month for a single line on unlimited welcome, with autopay plus taxes and fees. All this to say, during the holiday season, when everything is costing more, you can get more for less right now at a local Verizon store. $15 monthly promo credits applied over 36 months with a new line on unlimited welcome. In times of congestion, unlimited 5G, 4G LTE may be temporarily slower than other traffic. Domestic data roaming at 2G speeds. Additional terms apply.
Amazing what you can do. And unfortunately, though, I think the hard part for most of us is that we do have to use our tragedies in order to realize our purpose in life. You know, what we're really truly are about. You know, my personal tragedy, as we all know, domestic violence is nothing new, but it's very new when it happens to you. You know, Same thing with you. It's nothing new to hear somebody's been fired, but it's always new when it happens to that individual. So trying to make a difference in your life and those who depend on you, your children, they depended on you. So you knew you had to step up to the plate and you had to depend on yourself. So there's so many things you think about as you're going through that process. But the one thing I want to find when you're doing your programs and you're out here talking to the executives and, you know, they're whining to you about, oh, these people don't really appreciate me, you know, they really don't want to work for me. What is the number one question or problem that you hear about within the industry that most executives have with their personnel, the problems that they have?
The one problem that I get the most is, why can't they just do what I ask them to do? Right? I'm the boss. You're the employee. Here's what I need you to do. Go do it. Mm-hmm. And, you know, there has been a shift, and I'm not going to say it's something new, but there is a mentality that is a little different in the workplace now. And believe it or not, the one thing that I tell everybody who's in leadership, who's a boss, who's a manager, who's a supervisor, a crew leader, you've got to be tuned into radio station WIIFM. And, you know, as a leader, most people kind of don't get that. Well, you've got to be able to connect with your team and be able to explain to them what's in it for me, up to and including you do this or you're fired. But you got to be able to explain to them what's in it for them because, you know, just to be transparent, it sucks to get up, you know, and work a 9 to 5. Some days I just don't feel like working, no matter who it is that you employ. You got to be able to understand that as a leader. So every day, or at least quarterly, or at least monthly or weekly, you've got to be able to explain what's in it for that particular person that you're leading. And in addition to that, I would say that there has to be some level of incentive involved, even if it's having popcorn Mondays, right? Mm-hmm. With social media today, there has to be a connection point. If you don't connect with your employees and the people that you're with, they're going to connect to somebody in China. They're going to connect with somebody in Africa. They're going to connect with somebody in Brazil on your time, on the clock. So you need to create those social connection points. Like I said, I train on having like popcorn Mondays. Popcorn Mondays is because it's the one day of the week that everybody calls out. Nobody wants to be there. So at lunch, everybody get together, or during a 15-minute huddle, bring everybody together. You serve them all popcorn, and you be in a circle, and everybody tell me one thing that happened great this weekend. And before you get to the end of the circle, everybody's happy, they're energized, they're high-fiving each other. People who didn't like each other are now getting to find out about each other, which makes it more easy to relate and to connect. And once you have people that you're cohesive with, it's easier for you to create that synergy and be more productive. But that's a big step, especially in an office environment, especially in a factory environment, but it has to be done because they're making a social connection somewhere. And you got to understand as a leader, as a boss, what's in it for the people that you lead.
Right. And I agree with that. And I think the other thing that I see with most of the bosses today is that they actually forget where they came from. They actually forget that the people are the most important part of what makes them who they are. Yeah. So how do you handle those type of bosses who say, well, I built this. This is mine. You know, like I said, I want you to do what I want you to do. But at the end of the day, when those people walk, then there's nobody there to build that empire.
Yeah. So I usually relate a story to, and what happens is, if you ever remember your first love, puppy love, your teenage years, your early 20s, and for individuals who've been in relationships, you ever heard the phrase, you can't miss what you never had? Mm-hmm. Well, what happens when you miss something that you do have. That pain of breakup, that pain of losing your shown up love is something. Oh God, I just had a flashback real quick. When I was
Hold on
alone,
now,
and
keep it. We're trying to keep it simple here tonight.
I lost the person that I had. I lost the person that I had. But get this, it wasn't that she left me because she stopped loving me. She left me because I wasn't doing what I was supposed to do. I wasn't keeping my commitments. I wasn't being the person that I was when she met me, and I lost her. And I never want to have that feeling again. So just a simple story like that to relate to whomever the CEO is, the CFO, whoever that leader is, that as much as you complain about these folks and as much as you feel like it's do it or else, when you lose these very people that you don't appreciate now, your productivity is going to go down. It's going to cost you 2 times as much to go out and find somebody new, training, lost productivity. And when you speak to them in a dollar and cents fashion, because that's what it really boils down to. Can you sell? Can you service the client that you have? And then can you collect the money? And I simplify it down to those 3 things. And you need people at all those 3 touch points. And when you lose one of those 3 touch points, the whole building falls down. So it's just a matter of making them appreciate and understand that you are nothing without people.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I love it. Very well said. And, the thing I love is how you use the simple analogy of everyday life and threw it back into it in the professionalism side, to make people realize that we are human beings and we have relationships. And when you build that rapport and that trust, and when you take that trust away, that's how you lose the sight of the people that you thought were the greatest person. Oh, I hired and they were the best person in the beginning. And now what happened? 90% of the time, these are the reasons of why they're no longer that best person. And the big part is because they don't feel valued.
That's right. That's right.
So
that's a big part of it too. Feeling value. That's why it's important that you have that social connection point. And honestly, to tell you my leadership style when I was in my early years, most companies have a no fraternization policy, right? So I followed that to the letter. I didn't have personal conversations. I didn't look to connect with anybody. I'm here to do a job. You should be too. Play is play, but this is work. That's why they call it work. That's what I'm here to do. And one thing I learned, which is another one of the modules that I teach, is rules over relationships, right? And if you are dead set on putting rules over establishing a relationship, your company, if it doesn't crumble in the beginning, it will eventually falter, because sometimes some people need grace. They're going to make mistakes. Sometimes people need to know that you understand. Sometimes people need to know that you hear them. So it's very imperative that if you want to have a successful business, that you need to understand it's not rules over relationship, it's relationship over rules.
Right, because no one person learns one way. And so there's no one thing that fits everybody. And so you do have to have some flexibility. And it's obvious, yes, as employees, you want them to follow your rules. But at the end of the day, those employees can make the same decision to say, well, hey, I don't want to be here anymore. Like you may not want them to be there anymore. But, absolutely some excellent information. I'm going to have a couple more questions as we are getting close to the end of our interview. But what I wanted to find out, if a person was to walk up to you today, and I'm sure you get this question, how do you start a business? What advice would you give them?
The simple thing for me is to be able to understand, why is it that you want to have this business? Why is it? If it's for money, if it's for attention, if it's for a great idea, whatever it is, you need to be crystal clear about why you're doing it, right? Once you understand why you're doing it, you need to be able to explain to someone else why they should be interested in why you do whatever it is that you do. People spend millions of dollars on marketing campaigns and ads. Take, for instance, right now, Chick-fil-A and Popeye's Chicken, they're all having this big social media war. They both sell a chicken sandwich, but it's all in how you explain your story. Who'd ever think that eating the chicken sandwich would have a cow as the spokesperson, right? Popeye, they're Cajun stuff from Louisiana. So everybody's got a story, and they're trying to make you be interested in why they do what they do. Both doing chicken, but here's why we do it. Chick-fil-A on this end, and then Popeyes on the other end. So be crystal clear about why you're doing it and be honest with yourself, right? And then you have to be able to convey that to someone else, make it interesting for them to be able to be plugged in and buy into why you do what you do. Because like you said, everybody's been fired. So what? Well, I've got to be able to tell a compelling story, connect with you, have some relatability. Now I'm going to tell you how to overcome that hardship and make it a victory for you. So you got to be able to connect with somebody to be able to have them to take interest in what it is you're doing.
Exactly. And like you said, it's not always about being able to have these $1 million marketing campaigns. It's about how you present yourself. And you're right, absolutely right. And I always tell people in business, you're not the only one. So quit trying to reinvent the wheel, but tell us what makes you better than the next person. So you're absolutely right. Very well said. Thank you. And so you have any upcoming events that you would like to share with us?
Right now, I am looking to finish my book.
Oh, shoot.
So,
an author in the house, yes.
Yes. So I'm going to be able to put Arthur Robert Antoinin on social media stuff. But right now, I'm concentrating on the book. I'm going to be co-facilitating a few conferences coming up here toward the end of the year. I've got a lot of stuff going on for 2020. Right now, I'd like to tell you right now, there's going to be a conference called I Build the City. It's going to be a 2-day conference talking about how to start a business, like you just talked about, how to write a book. So shout out to Kimberly, who doesn't know she's going to be there, but she's going to be a part of it as a facilitator. So I want to tell somebody from A to Z how to start a business, how to get started, and whatever it is that you want to do. And here's the thing. A lot of people try to tell you about mindset, and they try to give you motivation. But motivation is like the deodorant. You got to put it on every day, right? Mm-hmm. How many times have you been to a conference where somebody says, here's step 1, here's step 2, here's step 3, here's step 4 on how to do X, Y, or Z. So I Build This City is exactly that, showing young entrepreneurs, people who are already in the game, CEOs, CFOs, COOs, on how to build a successful, sustainable business in a crowded marketplace. And other than that, as you know, I am on the Black CEO Morning Show every morning from 8 to 9:30 a.m. Monday through Friday. It's a pretty cool platform that I've been a part of for almost a year now. So right now I'm finishing the book and then preparing for the I Build the City conference in 2020. And it's going to be in the Washington, D.C. metropolitan area, as well as co-facilitating and being a part of some events coming up. But I always post those on social media. So when they get close to fruition, I'll make sure that I post it so that everybody sees it. And if you want to follow me, my name is Robert. That's the easy part. Antoinin. A-N like Nancy, T like Tom, O-I-N-I-N. You can find me on Facebook, on Instagram. I'm very, very accessible in that way. I return all of my messages. And Kimberly, let me tell you, I get a lot of professional messages, but I get some personal DMs as well. And you know, I just want to explain to people I'm here in the marketplace to serve and to do business. I've already got enough friends, and Kimberly is my friend, and I don't need another friend. So I am available on all social media platforms. I'm also on LinkedIn as well.
All right.
Everything is Robert Antoinin.
I'm sorry, say that again.
And everything is under Robert Antoinin. So you can find me by my name.
All right.
We'll find this light skin headshot right here.
Yeah, we know what you look like. Okay, we know you look good. That's the easy part. We know what you look like. So, you know, that's usually the first thing I hear. Oh, okay, he looks good. I know that, but we're here to talk business. We know he looks good.
You're making me blush.
Well, you know, I got to tease you about it all the time. You know, we just can't help ourselves. But anyway, it has been a wonderful evening to have you on my show. It's just been great to be able to talk to you and for you to share your story and the resources that you provide for our community. Thank you so much.
Yes. Thank you so very much for allowing me to be here. And one more time, I just love Kimberly McLemore. She is a powerful lady. I know she doesn't want to hear this, but I just want you to connect with her. Make sure that you allow her to come to your conference. If you hear her story, you will understand why I am so connected to this young lady. She is powerful. She is dynamic. And she is an author. So go get her book. Buy it, buy it, buy it.
Thank you so
That's
much.
my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Exactly. But look, now you can add that I am an two-time award-winning author. So I'm even more excited about that. It's been a great year. Yes, it's been a great year. And, I've been very thankful and very blessed, and definitely looking forward to 2020 because that's the next realm. 2019 is past already, you guys. So if you're not working on 2020, you should be. And so anyway, again, thank you so much for being on my platform with me tonight. For everyone else, make sure that you reach out to Mr. Robert Antoinin if you have any questions about what it means to deal with the challenges of being with professional people and their personnel not wanting to work out properly within the environment. You need to call this man right here, and many other things that Robert can do for you. Like, he's great beyond a motivator. He knows what he's talking about, and he's very helpful. He's been a good friend of mine for the last few years, and I'm looking forward to many more years of working with him and collaborating in some new things. So definitely looking forward to 2020 with you. But for everyone else, again, thank you for coming on and listening to our show. We're here every Thursday evening at 7 p.m. And you can listen to us now. We're added on Google, Apple Podcasts, and then Google Podcasts as well. On top of being on iHeartRadio, as you know, we're on Spotify, and we're just all over the place. So you can find us on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, LinkedIn, and Instagram. You can hear this whole show. If you missed it live, go back and listen to the replay, because I'm telling you missed a good one. But until next time, we'll see you next week at 7 p.m. Good night.
Good night, everyone. We will be back next Thursday evening at 7 p.m. Follow us on Spreaker, www.spreaker.com/user/WSBI. View our new WSBI website anytime at www.wsbillc.com and on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, LinkedIn, and Instagram.
This holiday, BMW has reunited 3 members of the family at the BMW Road Home Sales event. The Agile X3, engineered for any adventure. The plug-in hybrid X5, commanding the streets with unmatched presence. And the all-electric i4, charging into the future with impeccable performance. Hurry in to find what powers your journey at the BMW Road Home Sales event. BMW, the ultimate driving machine.
Visit Valley BMW Center today for attractive lease and finance offers.
The most wonderful time of the year. Although, let's be honest, around the holidays, things really add up. But here's the good news. Only at Verizon, you can get a single line for $50 per month when you switch and bring your phone. So while ice skating for 2 is definitely costing more, here at Verizon, you can save. Gifts for your third cousins? Steep. A single line with Verizon? Not so steep. A real tree? Pricey. A single line with Verizon? Less pricey. Flights to see Mima and Pops? Those are up. A $50 per month single line? That's down. Even a trip to the Atlanta holiday market will cost you more. But with Verizon, you can switch and bring your phone for just $50 per month for a single line on unlimited welcome, with autopay plus taxes and fees. All this to say, during the holiday season, when everything is costing more, you can get more for less right now at a local Verizon store. $15 monthly promo credits applied over 36 months with a new line on unlimited welcome. In times of congestion, unlimited 5G, 4G LTE may be temporarily slower than other traffic. Domestic data roaming at 2G speeds. Additional terms apply.